Science teachers पढ़ाए तो simple लगे everything. Leaderboards and quizzes से
Amazing.
learning हो जाए happening. समझ आएगा तो मजा आएगा.
Vedantu. Learn live online. To attend a free live class, download the app now.
Hello my dear students, Namaste and welcome to part 4 of our class 10 ICSE Biology Diagram Series. I'm Ambika, Master Teacher of Biology here at Vedantu. As you know, we've completed 3 sessions of our diagram series. Today is going to be the 4th session. So there are 3 particular chapters that I have picked for you in today's session, so you will get to know what they are very soon. So before that, as always, let's get started with a positive quote. This is what I want to tell you today. Do what makes your soul shine. Okay, basically I am trying to tell you that you must never give up on whatever gives you complete happiness. Okay, external distractions are different. I am not talking about those, so keep that in mind. What makes you completely happy? Okay, for every person it may be different. It may be reading books, it may be listening to music, it may be attending some hobby class or some sports activity. So never ever give up on those, whatever may come. Okay, and as you know, we here at Vedantu have been planning out a lot of courses for you to help you perform in your boards better, and we've been working for you since the month of October. Specifically, I'm talking specifically for ICSE class 10 children, and we have come up with what is called the micro course, and here is a piece of information for you. You have this opportunity to win a micro course of your choice at just ₹1. And how do you do that? Take the one class challenge. All you have to do is download the Vedantu learning app, select your grade and choose any free masterclass of your choice, and take a screenshot of the masterclass that you're watching and share the screenshot of that and the link of the micro course of your choice at YouTube at vedantu.com. Okay, you will get a confirmation mail with a coupon code, and you may use that coupon code to get the micro course at ₹1. So yes, let's not waste any more time. Let's the learning begin. And for those of you who want a much bigger kind of revision, here is a set of crash course series for you for ICSE class 10 crash course. These are the subjects that we have come up with a course on: physics, chemistry, biology and maths. You get all of these features for the crash course, basically the coverage of the entire syllabus of your class 10 ICSE in these subjects, in these 4 subjects, available to you at a very, very attractive rate of just ₹7,999. These are the steps of how you can go about it, and you can just visit this link. It's provided in the description box below, and you can follow these steps and use the code AMCC to get this attractive price. Okay, children, and as you know, Vedantu's learning app has been much loved by all our students, by all our users, by many of our users, and we've been awarded the User's Choice App Award 2019. Do keep using it, because we do keep coming up with a lot of amazing upgrades and a lot of amazing content out there on the app. And stay in touch with us through the Telegram group. Some of you, I know, have already been chatting with us. Those of you who have not tried it out yet, do join us on Telegram, and you can get in touch with the teachers, with a lot of our expert academic mentors, to get all your academic related doubts instantly solved. And yes, most importantly, if you have been enjoying our ICSE set of videos, do hit the like button right now. Please share it with all your friends. I'm sure you've been doing it, but let me remind you, sharing is always caring. Okay, and it's always fun to share. And subscribe to the channel Vedantu 9 and 10 if you haven't done it yet. All right, and with that, let's get started with the very first question for the day. Here it is. Given below is a diagram depicting a defect of the human eye. Study the same and then answer the questions that follow. And as you know, this is basically from the chapter nervous system, from the subtopic sense organs. Okay, we are talking about the human eye. Name the defect shown in the diagram. Yes, children, what is the defect shown in the diagram? Observe it carefully. what is it that you must know to identify this defect? Yes, and most certainly the answer is myopia or short-sightedness or nearsightedness. How do you identify that? The rays coming from a faraway object are converging here and forming an image in front of the retina instead of bang on the retina, right? It's forming the image at a distance in front of the retina, which gives the person looking at the object a very, very blur image. Okay, so this is called myopia or nearsightedness or short-sightedness. Now, what are the two possible reasons that cause this defect? What do you think? Yes, of course, it's a defect concerned with the lens of the eye, and the first reason you can mention it this way: lengthening of the eyeball from front to back can lead to myopia. Secondly, of course, the main reason, the lens could be too curved, because of which focus is not normally happening. Okay, and that brings us to the next sub question, which is about the type of lens used to correct this defect. Okay, that's not been drawn here. All you can see is the natural lens of the eye. If you wanted to correct such a disorder, if you wanted to correct such a defect, what kind of lens would you use? Yes, children, think about it. I remember discussing hypermetropia with you in the specimen paper. So what kind of lens would be used for myopia? And yes, it would be a concave lens which can help you correct this defect. And the last sub question is, draw a diagram to explain how this defect is corrected using a suitable lens. Okay, so this is basically similar to how you would draw ray diagrams in physics. So be very, very careful in the sense that you must have a very sharp pencil. You must have a protractor. If you are in the habit of using a protractor to draw the lens, that would be great. Or if you are an expert at freehand drawing, that's also fine. But it has to look good. I'm not saying artistically, because this is a kind of diagram which any of you can draw with a little bit of patience and neatness. A sharp pencil, a ruler and a protractor, in my opinion, can help you draw a very, very clean ray diagram. Okay, and this would be the diagram that you have to draw. This is just there for your reference, so this is not expected from you. This is the normal case of myopia, I mean what the defect is, and if you had to correct it with a concave lens, you must make sure you draw the concave lens this way. You know how the convex lens would be, right? In the case of hypermetropia, concave lens would look like this, and that would help in converging the rays coming from a distant object correctly on the retina. Okay, so there we go. That fetches us full marks for this question. The next one, draw a neat labeled diagram of a myelinated neuron. All right, a myelinated neuron, what do we mean by that? A neuron which has a myelin sheath. So probably some of you who don't know the basics may wonder, so are there non-myelinated neurons as well? Yes, absolutely. There are also non-myelinated neurons, but of course, myelinated neurons are much more effective. So how do you draw them? This is the diagram that I've put here for your reference. So you can draw it however it's easy for you. I think this is a very simple diagram to learn to draw. So not much trouble. Where would you start? It can either be an erect, a vertical diagram, or it can stay horizontal this way. That's completely up to you, or it can be diagonal also. So let me just draw a rough diagram for you here. This is something like what a neuron's cell body would look like. Okay, it has a nucleus, as you know. You can mark the cytoplasm in it. What are these thread-like structures? They are the dendrites, right? And from here, when it leaves the cell body, what do you call it? It's called the axon, right? We are talking about a myelinated neuron. Myelin sheath is the covering that is found over the axon. So you must draw the myelin sheath also, right? This is how you can draw it. Okay? And finally, where does the axon go? Of course, it tries transmitting the signals to the next neuron, and hence its axon terminals, which would carry these impulses to the next neuron. So obviously all the labelings are right here. Dendrite, the nucleus, the soma or cyton or the cell body. You can mark the cytoplasm also if you wish to, but these are the most important parts: dendrite, nucleus, cell body or the cyton, myelin sheath, axon and axon terminal. Labeling all of these in this diagram will fetch you full marks. Again children, whenever you have to draw a diagram, there are certain basic rules that you must follow. The first basic rule is that you must draw it with a sharp pencil. Okay, that's one thing. And secondly, you must label everything in blocks in capital letters so that the examiner can certainly read it and it's legible to the examiner. Okay, so unnecessarily you don't lose marks because the examiner read it as something else. Block letters are easier to read, so preferably block letters or capital letters. And the labelings should all be made using a ruler or a scale. Okay, very neatly as much as possible. Try not to label it like multi-directionally as much as possible. Now in this image, because it's a computerized version that looks like a printed image like you see in textbooks, it's all right even if the labels are scattered. But always for hand-drawn diagrams, it would look best if you could label everything either on the same side or at least try not to keep it multi-directional. Okay, so these are certain basic rules which will certainly help fetch you full marks for such a question. Okay, and let's go ahead to the next one. Now, question number 3. The diagram given below is a representation of a certain phenomenon pertaining to the nervous system. Study the diagram and answer the questions. All right, what is it that you see? It's a certain phenomenon related to the nervous system. I'm very sure all of you have already guessed the answer. Yes, the phenomenon depicted here is the reflex action. What do we mean by that? Those emergency actions that the emergency responses that your nervous system, most of the time your spinal cord would take when you have to give a quick response, like taking back your hand, withdrawing your hand when you touch a very hot object or a very sharp object or something like that. That is what reflex action is. And this is basically the pathway that represents reflex action, which we call reflex arc. Okay, so this is our answer here. The phenomenon is reflex action. Okay, next question. Give the technical term for the point of contact between the two nerve cells or between two nerve cells. Yes, what do you think it is? Between two adjacent neurons, what do you call that space? Exactly, it is the synapse. Okay, very simple, right? It has fetched you another 1 mark. Next one, name the parts labeled 1, 2, 3 and 4. Where is 1? 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so I've put this diagram for you on a blank slide. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Who's going to tell me the answer to that? Yes. 1. Look at it carefully. You can be tempted to write 1 as a fingertip or a receptor, but look at it carefully where exactly the label has gone. Okay, and considering that, let me give this also for your reference to make things a little easier for you. Labeling 1 is showing the sensory neuron, which here is this, and here, because it's a schematic kind of diagram, it's just drawn as a line. Okay, the sensory neuron is 1. What is 2? 2 would be the dorsal root ganglion or the dorsal ganglion, which in this case is this part. So that is 2. Okay, so 1 and 2 done. What is 3? Yes children, what is 3? This you must be able to say because it's a cross section of the spinal cord. What do you see on the outer part of the spinal cord's cross section? It is indeed the white matter of the spinal cord. Okay, yes, white matter of the spinal cord. And label 4 is the gray matter of the cross section of the spinal cord. Yes, okay, very clear. Now let us go ahead and look at the next question. write the functions of parts 5 and 6. Okay, parts 5 and 6. What are they? First of all, we must know how to label 5 and 6. 5 is showing you the association neuron, right? It's here. Right, the connection, the interlinking between what is received and what is being given out, the stimulus and the response, the interconnection between them is the association neuron. It connects the spinal cord and the motor neuron. Okay, the next one is 6, part 6, which is the motor neuron in itself. And what does it do? It conveys messages or response signals from the spinal cord to the effector organ, right? This is your muscle which is shown. Okay, although it's in black and white, you can easily make out it's a muscle fiber. So that is the effector to which 6, which is the motor neuron, is able to convey messages. Okay, so that is simple again. Now the next one, how does the arrangement of neurons in the spinal cord differ from that of the brain? Okay, can sound a little complex, but it's something very, very simple. We are talking about the white matter and the gray matter. White matter in the case of spinal cord, as you can see here, where do you see it? White matter is outside and the gray matter is inside. Whereas in the case of the brain, you would see it the other way around. Gray matter outside and white matter inside. Children, this concept has been asked in many ICSE papers, so make sure you have this clear in your mind. In the brain's cross section, you have the outer gray matter and inner white matter, whereas in the spinal cord's cross section, you have the outer white matter and the inner gray matter. Okay, and with that we've come to the end of that question. The next one, the diagram represents the location and structure of an endocrine gland. Study the same and answer the questions that follow. Okay, name the endocrine gland shown in the diagram. Yes children, which one is it? Which gland of your body is this? Yes, it is certainly, from the shape you can make out the butterfly shape, it is your thyroid gland, which is present at the base of the neck. Okay, that's the thyroid gland. Name the secretion of the gland which regulates basal metabolism. What is the main hormone secreted by the thyroid gland? Yes, beyond doubt it is thyroxine, okay, which regulates basal metabolic rate. Okay, next question, name the mineral element required for the synthesis of the above mentioned hormone. Exactly, yes, we keep talking about thyroid issues, goiter and other issues which are caused as a result of what deficiency? Yes, iodine deficiency, and because of that we can conclude that the answer to this question is iodine. The mineral element required is iodine. Okay, so what are we trying to teach you here? Iodine is basically a mineral element which is important in manufacturing of thyroxine in your body. That is why iodine deficiency can cause malfunctioning of your thyroid gland. Okay, and two more questions. Name the disease caused due to under secretion of this hormone in children. Read the question completely. Under secretion of this hormone in children. If children or newborn infants do not have enough thyroid hormone, the thyroxine hormone secreted in their bodies, it will lead to a condition that we call, yes, cretinism. And the last question for this, name the disease caused due to hypersecretion of this hormone. What is hyper? Hyper is extra or over secretion. Hypo is under secretion. Okay, hyperactive will give you that idea, right? A person who's overly active is described as hyperactive. Similarly, hypersecretion is over secretion. Yes, what do you think would be the answer to this question? If there is too much secretion of thyroxine hormone, what could be the disease that is caused? Yes, you would call it exophthalmic goiter. Remember, we have discussed the features of this disease, exophthalmic goiter, wherein exophthalmic is telling you the eyes bulge out and protrude out. Exo is out, ex is outside, and ophthalmic is your eyes bulging out, and it's a case of goiter, okay, wherein you can see a swelling at the base of the neck. In case you want more clarification on the concepts in this chapter, children, go back to the videos on this chapter. Some of them were live, some of them were premiered, I guess. So do go back and have a look at it. You will get a much better clarity on all the glands and their respective hormones. So I hope this question could manage to do justice in the sense that it's given you an idea about what kind of questions can come from this chapter. Okay, one type is this, by showing you one single gland and asking you questions based on that. Another possibility could also be showing you an outline of the human body with all the glands labeled in it as 1, 2, 3, 4 and asking you to identify them and maybe other questions related to them. Okay, so you must make sure you know them inside out. As I told you when I taught you the chapter, the best way to learn this chapter is by making a systematic table. You must have a table definitely with the columns that tell you the name of the gland, what are the hormones it secretes, and what are the defects caused by hyposecretion and hypersecretion. Additionally, if you want anything more, do feel free to add to that. Okay, and that brings us to the last question for today. As you can see, and it's very, very clearly self-explanatory, it is from the chapter Evolution. The figure shows a human ancestor. Study it and answer the following. Okay, very, very simple. Now let me tell you, the children, usually diagram based questions are not asked from the chapter Evolution because there are a lot of other chapters from your syllabus which have much better scope for diagram based questions. But just in case it comes, it could be something like this, showing you one stage of human evolution and asking you questions based on that. So to be prepared for that, what do? You must be able to know each of the features of each of the stages in human evolution. Okay, so what is the question? Which stage of human evolution is shown? Yes, children, it looks so much like modern man, right? And he or she has got weapons and is working with stones, probably to create fire, and some kind of clothing is also there. So which stage is this? It looks somewhere very, very close to modern man. So it has to be the immediate ancestor of human beings, which is, yes, definitely it's Homo sapiens, but there is a name given to this particular stage. Yes, this is the picture showing you Cro-Magnon man. Okay, who also belongs to the species sapiens, Homo sapiens, but the primitive Homo sapiens, commonly known as Cro-Magnon man. Now, the next question, where did they live? Okay, this will be our last question for today. It can seem insignificant, but it's important for us to know this. Where did Cro-Magnon man live? Cro-Magnon man lived in parts of Europe. Okay, so that's important to know just in case the question comes based on stages of human evolution. You know whatever we have discussed, right? Australopithecus and Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, commonly known as Neanderthal man, and Homo sapiens, in which Cro-Magnon man and then modern man. Okay, so do go back to that video also and revisit it if you would like to have a recap of all the stages of human evolution. Most importantly, you must know the features and the brain capacity, okay, the cranial capacity and the brain capacity of each of those stages. Okay, and that brings us to the end of today's session. If you have enjoyed this session and found it useful, do remember to hit the like button right now, and please share it with all your ICSE Class 10 friends so that they can also benefit from our diagram series. And in case you've not subscribed yet, do remember to subscribe to the channel Vedantu 9 and 10. And in the meantime, if I can be of any help to you, I would always be glad to help. This is my email ID, ambika.gopalakrishnan@vedantu.com. So any questions, any feedback that you want to share with me regarding today's session or anything else, please feel free to contact me at this ID. And until we meet again, this is Ambika signing off. Bye bye.